Welcome to Cisco TSHOOT at CBT Nuggets. My name is Jeremy Char, and I'm here to give you a quick flyby on how you can get the most out of this very unique series. The TSHOOT exam can be one of the most enjoyable exam experiences you will have in the Cisco realm because it's very much a real-world exam. Not saying that Cisco Switch and Route are not real-world, but it's one of those exams that you could be doing Cisco all day, every day, and go take one of those tests and still fail because you didn't read about a nuance that very few people actually use, but you should know about, one of those kind of things when you're taking those tests. Well, TSHOOT is not really intended to teach you anything new. It's more so saying, okay, we know that you've studied the material. We know that you are now a master of switching and routing, but prove it. I mean, show us that you can do this in the real world. So the TSHOOT exam is going to be very much a hands-on-ish experience where you're on a lot of Cisco devices and you get to the point where you have to diagnose the problems. That's the whole goal of TSHOOT exam, is to diagnose. So you will miss the satisfaction of being able to fix it, but you will have to be able to say, okay, I think on switch B there is a misconfigured VLAN on trunk port, fast Ethernet 0/9 or something like that. That's the goal of the TSHOOT exam. So how should you get the most from the series, or I should say series is? The TSHOOT 2.0 series is what you are in right now. That's the one I just am putting the finishing touches on. The way I've structured this series is somewhat unique, that you'll have probably about the first 10 nuggets or so of the series, which gives you a synopsis of troubleshooting. Like, here are the approaches that you should take when you're troubleshooting, the mindset of troubleshooting, the way that you can be the most efficient you can be at solving problems, right? Then I go into concept and troubleshooting throughout the rest of the series. So you'll see this series is about 40 nuggets or so. Each one taking a concept like, I'll just say HSRP, right? I'll explain the concept. A lot of times I'll do a quick demonstration to show how it works, and then I'll show the areas of troubleshooting of that topic. And I'll sometimes even get into, well, look over here or look over here on an actual device. When I'm doing those, I'll put a lot of the common show commands that you'll want to use, or debug commands that you'll want to use to diagnose issues with that technology. Think of this series as the ultimate cram session of CCNP technology. Really, the best troubleshooters are those who really understand the technology, right? So if you really understand HSRP, I'm kind of stuck on that example, right? If you really understand HSRP, you'll know how to fix it if something doesn't line up quite right with the way HSRP is supposed to work. So that's the approach that I'm taking in this series, is going through and describing the technology, setting it up as fast as possible. Now keep in mind, my goal is speed with the setup. It's not going to be a full explanation of the technology. You're not, please don't come here to learn HSRP for the first time. That's what the Route series or the Switch series is there for, is to really fill in all the knowledge around that. In here, I'm right after it. I'm like, okay, HSRP, here's how you get it running. Look at that. We've got two routers. Hey, it's now working, right? Here's what can go wrong, and I explain how to do that. Now, this series alone will not be enough. I've partnered together with Keith Barker, and he has created a phenomenal, I can't tell you how amazing it is, TSHOOT Labs series. What he did was take GNS3 and actually put it into a full package that you can download that has a whole bunch of pre-prepared labs with it. Now, these labs are actually designed to stump you, meaning something is broken. He'll have in his series, hey, user A can't access the internet. See if you can figure out what's going on. So you'll pull up that lab and you'll actually try and troubleshoot your way through the scenario. Very, very much like the exam. And I will tell you, if you can master those things and really get the feel of those, you're going to do just fine on the lab environment, because that's exactly how the lab is structured. Here's your problem. Now see if you can go figure it out. Now, the fun part about Keith's labs is you'll actually be able to fix it. And on his labs, he actually has a walkthrough on the website if you ever get stuck and can't figure out the problem. There it is. And I think, actually, I do remember, in this series, I went through one of Keith's labs and ended up getting stumped. It was kind of funny. So I kept the video in there. It's part of this series. I actually have one more, and that's why I say a trifecta approach. TSHOOT 1.0. I actually created this one back in 2009. So if you want to hear a much younger version of Jeremy, there you have him. Go back to that one. What I did was I rented some labs from nil. This was the ultimate experience. And I troubleshot through the entire series blind. Meaning, I didn't prepare anything, which is very uncharacteristic of any instructor in the world. But I went ahead and said, let's risk it all. So I put the recorder on and I went through those labs, and I just went and said, okay, well, let's see if we can figure out the issue. And I mean, there were times I got stuck. There's times where I'm like, it's not the most fast-paced series, but you will actually get a ton out of that if you are brand new to troubleshooting. So that one is still available for you to take a look at whenever you'd like to. So go through those series as much or as little as you feel necessary to prepare yourself for that TSHOOT exam and put yourself to the test. That means go through and get, I would jump straight into those Keith Barker TSHOOT Lab series to put your skills to the test and see if you can solve a lot of the scenarios that he has. Go light on concepts for this. This is not an exam where you're going to be asked things like, you know, what's the default hello timer of VRRP when it's, you know, nothing like that on this exam. It's all about, hey, there's a problem, here's a trouble ticket, see if you can figure out where the problem exists in this network. And answer the questions based on that. So you're not going to have a ton of study to do in terms of learning a lot of concepts. You're just going to have a lot of real-world preparation. Last thing is, I say only go after the simulate and emulate practice exams. There's a lot of TSHOOT practice exams out there, and what you'll find is that they are actually just reworked route and switch practice exams that, you know, they just kind of combine the topics together and say, hey, there's your troubleshooting practice exam. That is not the kind of practice exam you need. You want the practice, if you're going to go after any practice exam, again, back up here to Keith Barker's series, that's the practice that you need. You need hands-on or things that are simulating or emulating problems in the network. So if you're looking around for things to practice with, look for those kind of practice. Well, with that, I launch you into the TSHOOT series. I know you're going to enjoy it. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.